Welcome to Simple Wonders, where I help you simplify home education so you can work wonders in your home. I'm Jessica, a homeschooling mom of 4 boys, here to guide you through the first steps of starting your homeschool journey. In this series, you'll learn how to get started, what you actually need to homeschool, and you'll develop real teaching skills, even if you've never taught a day in your life. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. Let's get started. So this is still week 5 of my How to Homeschool series, but I have 4 videos this week. I give a general overview of the 3 instruments of education. Then I'm going to go over each one of those 3 instruments in detail, or you could also call them tools, teaching tools that you need to have in your teacher's tool belt to be able to teach your children effectively and confidently. So the first one is atmosphere. And Charlotte Mason used this one as the first in her quote, education is an atmosphere, discipline, and a life. But I think that there's a lot more purpose than it was just first, or because it starts with A. I believe this is the way we learn when we are first born. We don't know how to read yet, and we're kind of just barely starting to use our bodies and kind of get used to it. We aren't really forming habits quite yet. Atmosphere. This is when we humans are born with an acute sense of observation. We are, and I guess all creatures are, but humans, we have an ability to see different things and to observe and to differentiate, discriminate between things so that we can understand this is different from this because of this, like a cat and a dog. Now, in case you aren't aware, I studied human development at Brigham Young University, and I did a whole semester-long class on cognitive development. It was fascinating. I loved it. One of the things that was really interesting is how does a child know what the difference is between blue and yellow? Well, maybe they go to grab a ball because their mom said, hey, go grab the blue ball. And they go grab the yellow one. She says, no, not that one. That one's blue. I want the yellow one. So he grabs the red. No, that one's red. He's learning, oh, she is saying blue. These are all balls. And she said, this one's blue, this one's red. Okay, then it must be this yellow one, right? They're learning to differentiate, to discriminate between different things. How do they know the difference between a cat and dog? They look very similar to a baby. They're so smart at discriminating. They know, oh, well, the cat has this certain features. The dog has these certain features. The dog acts this way, the cat acts this way. This thing they call a dog. And it has these floppier ears. It has this tail that does this, and it sticks its tongue out and it barks and makes this sound. So my whole point is we are born with the ability to discriminate and look for differences. Our brain just does that naturally and is really good at it. So when we are born into the world, we are forming relationships with things. That's including gravity. We're forming relationships with our bodies. We're forming relationships with water and physics, like gravity. Like I mentioned earlier, we're forming relationships with other people. When I do this, this happens. We're memorizing everyone in our family and friends' faces. So many things, and we're learning so much. Not a single time in our infancy and toddlerhood were we given a worksheet. Were we told to practice, and you have to practice this many times before you can go do this? None of those things. We weren't even lectured to. We just learned by observing, by the atmosphere around us. Now, I feel bad for atmosphere, even though it is one of the legs of the stool. If you think about education as a 3-legged stool, we have atmosphere, discipline, and life as the 3 legs of this that keep it standing. I think that we tend to disregard it because it doesn't seem rigorous enough to us, but it is so important. Now think about professional baseball players. They see a pitch, a ball coming at them at 100 miles an hour, and they can instantly recognize whether it's a curveball or, I don't know, a straight shoot, whatever the terms are. I'm not a baseball person, but all these different pitches, they can recognize it and react to it immediately within milliseconds because of exposure, because of practicing, because they have been seeing so many different balls coming at them. They've learned to discriminate and differentiate between these things, and it is a sense. This atmosphere is really about our senses, more so than memorizing facts and practicing something. It is being exposed to something. It's using our senses. And it's one of those things that, again, I think it gets put off because we're like, oh, it's senses. It's really hard to test and it's really hard to explain. But it is a way that we learn, and it's an important way. Another example is, how do you know who your child is? How do you differentiate your child from other children, or your baby's cry from other babies' cries? You didn't take a test about it, and you couldn't even sit and write an essay and verbally explain how you know your child's face is different from another child's face. You just know. You know because you've seen them multiple times over and over. Another example is, how can a professional tell a forged or counterfeit dollar from a real dollar? They're exposed to the real thing over and over and over again, and they can just tell. They can tell with the feel, they can tell with the sight, they just know. And so there are subjects that you can teach without doing any worksheets, without doing any practices, and you can do this through an important tool called Interleaving. Now, this is one of these cognitive tools that I read about when I was learning about learning about learning. So interleaving works like this. You're giving children or adults, any age person, a few different things that are similar, but they're different. For example, let's say you go out and gather lots of leaves in the park and you bring them home and you ask your child to look at them and sort them into ones that look the same. So you could say, all right, can you sort all the maple leaves? And your child may say, I don't know what a maple leaf looks like. Oh, okay. This is a maple leaf. Okay, now look at this leaf. Do you think this is a maple leaf? And it may be an oak leaf. And they're like, no, that doesn't look similar. You may find a red maple leaf. And they're like, oh, yes, that one. Now, you're not having them count all of the little prongs. You're not asking them to describe anything. You're not giving them a lecture. You're simply asking them to sort or to tell you, is this a maple leaf? And they could say, no, that is not a maple leaf. Or what leaf is this? Oh, that is an oak leaf. Because they have been exposed to it and they've looked at them side by side, things that are similar but different in nature. And they're learning to discriminate and find the differences through their senses. You can do the same thing through feeling different things, tasting different things. This is really one of those subjects that it's the 5 senses that are involved. Instruments, and they can learn to differentiate, okay, this is a tuba, this is a trumpet. And the children do it the same. That's how they learn language. That's how they learn to say the different phonemes in a language, is through multiple exposure. And so just having them use their 5 senses over and over again to differentiate between different things is called interleaving. And it is a very important thing that you can use for artist study. You can use it for composer study or music, any type of music. You can use it for language arts through like spelling. I will talk more about this, but I use a program called Word Study. This is a great program where children are given lots of different words that have similar spelling patterns. So it could be long A sounds, an AY at the end of a word, or an A in the middle and an E at the end. It could be EIGH, and they're sorting them, and they're like, oh, these ones sound the same, so I'm going to put them here. These ones sound different, I'm going to put them here. These ones look the same, AY, I'm going to put those in this category. So that is called interleaving, and it is where they're being exposed to something over and over again to where they get a sense for it. And it is so much more effective than having children memorize rules or trying to verbalize something that is not meant to be verbalized. Now, not all subjects can be taught this way, but a lot of them can benefit from interleaving. For example, math. You can give your child a variety of math questions, and children have to differentiate, oh, how am I going to solve this math problem? How am I going to solve this one and this one? Because they're similar, but they're different, right? You can use it in sports with baseball. You can use it in music. You can use it in artist study. It especially works well for things that you use the 5 senses. So that is interleaving, or how Charlotte Mason would call it atmosphere, being exposed to things in real life situations and being able to differentiate and form relationships with them.
Now, there's a couple of key things with interleaving that I want to mention. First is that the items can't be wildly different from each other. It's not going to help very much for your child to learn to differentiate a fox from an ant. They're very obviously different. But if you had pictures of all the different types of foxes, they're going to learn how to differentiate between those because they have to look for minute differences. If you have a Monet painting mixed in with a lot of, or Monet paintings mixed in with a lot of other paintings from the Impressionist era, they all look very similar, but your child is going to learn to differentiate the Monet paintings based on just their sense of, oh, this is how it looks. And how you would do that is you could have a lot of paintings by Monet and Impressionist artists, and you just show them one. You can write the names of the artists on the back, and you show them one, and you say, okay, who do you think painted this? And they may not know. They may say, I don't know. Okay, look on the back. Oh, that's a Monet. All right, here's the next one. Oh, that's a Degas. Or, oh, that's a Van Gogh. Okay, that's a Monet. And after getting exposed many, many times, your child's going to instantly recognize, oh, that's a Monet. Oh, that's a Van Gogh. And same with the maple leaf example or the tree leaves example. Once they get really good at recognizing, oh, these are all maple leaves, these are all oak leaves, they can start differentiating between the oak leaves. Oh, that is a bur oak. Oh, that is a gambler oak, because they've been exposed. Now, maybe you don't want your child, or don't feel like your child is going to need to differentiate between Impressionist artists. Maybe you don't think they're going to need to differentiate between the oak trees, but this is an important tool for all areas. So figure out, this is your assignment, think about how you could use this in the subjects that you are going to be teaching. There's so many things. It's usually the 5 senses that you would use this for: sight, taste, sound, touch, smell. And think about how you can use this tool for the different subjects that they are going to be learning. That is all I have for you today with atmosphere and interleaving. But next week I'm going to talk about discipline, so don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever the new videos come out.